Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
This is Ringu, hello.
And folks, not a monthly tournament today. No. It is Season 8 of SD2 League. This is Division 2 on Tsel. And Rang, who do we have? What are they bringing?
On left-hand side in the blue, we have IL2 ready for booty busting, otherwise known as Flix, playing as the first Polish. And on the right-hand side in red, we have FaridRommel, playing as the first DFL with both of them are Maverick income.
So, DFL, we do see a recon playing early, which is, always kind of a delicious thing to be seeing, especially when the Poles don't invest in a super early anti-air, and why would they, honestly? But, yeah, first DFL. What the heck should we be expecting out of this? I know these are Legionnaires. I know these are very kind of squats from all over the place. We see some partisans over here, but what should we expect?
Yeah, really on both sides, it's just going to be a standard infantry spam affair. It's a pretty good map for both divisions. Not a whole lot of tanks, but decent, medium CQC spam tanks. Just lots of infantry, lots of decent vehicles and fire support. But, yeah, it's just going to be battles infantry. I kind of give the slight advantage to DFL, because they got, of course, Legionnaires and some more high-tech stuff, so to speak. While the Polish infantry is a bit more of your standard, Russian army-style affair.
True. Now, one thing I had to kind of call out real quickly here, so we get these partisans here running away from a lot of Strelkies over here in the north central position. They murked one squad of infantry already. I don't think they're going to get a second one here, unfortunately. They're just getting chased down by all the Strelkies.
Yeah, but do you like his Trin Su-57 position, getting some very good shots on the hill. Not the best fire support vehicle, but when there's nothing to shoot back at you, it can get the job done and forcing back at least one squad of Legionnaires.
Yeah, that is certainly true. I think we have to kind of keep an eye out, though, about a lot of the sneaky stuff that we're going to continue to see here. We are actually seeing an early P-47. Is he going after? Yep, he's going after the Su-57s. And with the 37 Palm being moved on in, he's going to get the bombs off on this particular run, but I don't think that kind of airstriking is going to be happening more than a couple of times. Oh, no, he's going for the anti-air.
Oh, no.
Beautiful. Wow, that was good, actually.
Yeah, that's a very good kill. Quite surprised.
First infantry fights happening over here to the northern side. Worth mentioning, we do have the hero Bimp Tranop, which, forgive me, I'm not going to be able to actually tell you who this guy is, but what the heck do we expect out of these squads, other than the Legionnaires, of course?
Yeah, Legionnaires, I mean, are just going to be tough to fully kill with that fanatical trait. The Superiors with the flamethrowers do have the firepower to force them back, but it's just, I don't think there's going to be enough Superiors in this case. The Legionnaires, especially holding this whole light forest area in between the two heavy forests, just have that long-range firepower to keep him back.
True. Very true. Worth mentioning here and there that these anti-tank squads aren't kind of throwing softballs. No. They have bazookas and Panzerfausts, so deliciously scary.
Yeah. We got an IL-2 being brought in, but not actually dropping any bombs, unfortunately. He definitely needs some more infantry and fire support on that hill, because the Superiors just got absolutely rocked there, you could say.
That certainly seems to be the case, and that hero, Bimp, moving on forwards. IL-2 is coming back in. I don't really know what he's going to try to aim for. He's just...
Well, yeah, he's just enjoying the rever, I guess.
Well, when you have a flying tank, I suppose that kind of works, I suppose. Speaking of tanks, actually, we have 3 nice little stewards being brought on forwards, trying to maybe aggress onto the central hilltop. It's been a while since we've seen Tsel. So,
yep.
Obviously, of course, 2 major slopes. One huge one in the south that has much less, I think, utility than this north-central one here right now. And yikes, there goes the first BA-10. That bazooka has insane range by comparison.
Yeah, and finally IL-2 doing a bit of damage, but not a whole lot of damage, unfortunately. But it's had a very good offensive so far here from Farid. If he can completely secure this hill, it's a very advantageous position, because it gives you all sorts of options from putting aggression up north or down south. And he is just investing heavily here. He's really leading the momentum of the match. I'm not really seeing Flix do anything anywhere else, try to push a little bit down south, because he needs to try and... I don't think he's going to win a head-on battle on the hill. He needs to try and divert FaridRommel's attention somewhere.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be too successful at that. Northern side, for example, there's that one Zis gun, which, yeah, for the time being is keeping the waves of French Foreign Legionnaires back. But, he's only got 8 more shells. And then at that point, he kind of becomes, well, a bit unnecessary.
Or an anti-tank gun.
Yeah, but, anti-tank gun without an anti-tank to shoot. Like, there's no infantry there to kind of, well, there's rather nothing to do to, you can't fire a 76 mil AP shell at an infantryman and expect to do anything. I mean, this isn't bolt action. IL-2 coming in after that Sherman, though, and does pick it up.
Very good pick-off, yeah. Sherman at close range is going to be deadly, but it's a little bit too little too late. FaridRommel just has such a good position on that hill. And if he can just get some anti-tank guns on there, he is going to be Gucci. Absolutely Gucci.
Yes, indeed. Now, one thing we haven't really talked too much about is this Stuart push, which is kind of goofy. Not really what you expect to see as being the guys on the front lines, but when Strokies get stressed out, there's not much anybody can do. So watch this be a nice little pickup here. These guys are going to more or less take this town, or just hold it until the Legionnaires come in. Either way, this is very, very good for them.
Yeah, another good little offensive momentum here from Farid. Yeah, if he can get infantry into that town, he will be also in a very, very good position, if I can say very properly. We're seeing some more infantry being brought up north, so I feel like he's just trying to completely mop off his northern side before Flix can even get into position.
Well, I mean, that's really the great idea about this, isn't it? Is that, yes, there is a reinforcement kind of point to bring it from the land, as you can see over here on my screen, at least anyway, those 2 northern arterials, but it's either you go into that kind of north-central one, let's call it number 2 from the top, and you can see that right now it's a BA-10, so T-34 move down in, and you have to detour quite a chunk of time, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
No.
It's too slow as a rotation.
Yeah, if you can look down that northern bridge, it is pretty much over for the northern flank here. I don't know what really Flix has been investing in, because he's just been completely outnumbered in the northern section. Doesn't feel like he has enough troops to counter back, and just looking at the rest of the map, it doesn't really have anything crazy anywhere else. He needs to try and push somewhere in the center or down south, I believe.
So part of the thing that's been engaged here is we are seeing, I mean, one of the Stuarts does go down. Yeah, that was going to happen. We knew that. But one of the things we were seeing here is that the P-47 has picked up a couple of kills, not enough to make it feel quite so unbalanced as you mentioned, but it's still quite effective somewhere.
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you where. I'm puzzled myself, I have to admit.
Seen a little bit of a push in the center of just the half track leading the charge. As you can see from FaridRommel, front line, it's pretty barren down south, and we're seeing a little bit of maneuvers here, but still, just very much focused on trying to ward off the northern attack, managing to get at least a BA-10 across, and IL-2 strike, good hit on the chalks.
Honestly, I wasn't even paying attention to that. I was seeing the little half track, and I was seeing the fact that they're bringing in a Stuart over here. So yeah, that bulge. Let's just say the Polish are going to be no longer happy to see the first DFL there.
No.
But this northern Stuart actually continues to have a rather hefty crossfire on that Strokey. Lucky for the Strokey, he gets out of line of sight there. And unfortunately for that M1919, yeah, he's just going to do what Legionnaires do best. Just kind of unfortunate, just die.
Yeah, that's what you pay him for.
Exactly, exactly. We'll give you French citizenship. When? After your obituary goes into the paper.
Yes.
But,
once your blood lands on the soil, then you get your papers.
Yep. It's crazy stuff, honestly, with the French Foreign Legion, just in general. Let's forget all the other kind of training and things like that, but just those guys are ridiculous.
All the penal troops sneaking up behind the Stuart, gets the bounce, unfortunately. Here we got a second squad of the PTRD coming in. Yeah, Flix is starting to regain a little bit of momentum up north, but even then, it's going to be a uphill battle trying to get back onto the hill. He can at least, get a good defensive line up north, make sure he doesn't lose that bridgehead. But once again, I'm just going to keep pestering. He needs to try to push somewhere in the center or down south. Try to spread his legs a little bit.
And that's the thing too, is that the Poles are certainly one of those cavalry divisions where you have to attempt that, jog, let's call it. Because if you look to the northern side, there's more chalks there than in a Hershey's factory, and with the 57mm kind of covering that kind of northern area now, yeah, he's gonna start to engage that T-34, and I would see a dead T-34 happening pretty soon here. Yep, there we go.
Yeah. Because in terms of really firepower, I mean, it's pretty comparable between both divisions, but the French just have that slight technological advantage over the Poles. So the Poles really need to just be trying to play across the entirety of the map and just try to put so much pressure all over the place that it's very hard for the DFL to actually engage anywhere.
Now, the only thing here is that the IL-2s might get... I was saying he might get a cheeky thing over here on the char, but no, he actually picks up the half track. I know he's aiming for him in there. Only thing I'd like to see a little more from the first DFL is maybe a better anti-air net. Yes, I know the IL-2 is a brick, but hey, just because your opponent has a Nokia phone for an attack plane doesn't mean you should just kind of forget it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Flix has invested in a Katusha and two. Why is he getting S-35? I guess he's trying to knock out Shermans, but he's also going to need a little bit more actual fire support to get into a hill. I guess the S-35s can provide actually decent HE firepower.
Well, Little Katya is going for the 57mm and that hilltop, and it's far enough away that the dispersion might not be enough. We're going to see crazy dispersion on this. Here it comes.
Yep. It's going to be one of those rocket strikes which was really more used for the killing aspect rather than following after attack.
And
I feel like if he waited a little bit for these reinforcements to come up and then do the rocket strike and then immediately try to charge up the hill, he could start contesting it. But as you can see,
yes,
not a whole lot has been really damaged.
Well, not even killed, not for sure anyway. Yeah, we had a little bit of freaking out, a couple casualties, 1,000 wounds and a couple deaths. But wounding doesn't mean a whole lot in this match, unfortunately. You can see it right now, 14-10. The IL-2s, they might be ready for booty busting, but they're not busting, so they're not busting enough vehicles over here.
Yeah, I mean, that huge blob of chocks is just quite nasty to deal with. Fortunately, for the BA-10, they don't have any anti-tank, but I don't think the BA-10 has enough machine gun ammunition to get through all of them.
Well, it doesn't need to either, because that Sherman's still right there.
Yeah. That Sherman's in such a clutch spot. There's not enough... Well, I say not enough anti-tank. It is that one Zish-3 gun, but he is rotating into position right now. Having a bit of a hard time doing that.
Well, the funny thing, too, is that if you follow his path the entire way around, he never actually gets to see the thing that should kill him.
Yep.
Wow, that Sherman's a great line of sight. Look at that, it's engaging that this appears halfway down the map. That's a really, really great position. Unfortunately, the Su-85s, as they line up on him, they have a better position. Shooter killed. There we go. That is not something you want to see when you have two tank destroyers lining up on you.
Yeah, and those S-35s in the coming clutch to try to even out the armor advantage. Or even bringing out a proper commander, the M3A1 Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it's kind of like he's wounded, finish him. But not quite as successful about that just yet. There's that other Bofors. There we go. That's exactly what we need to be seeing.
Yeah. And two Bofors are definitely going to make it quite hard for those IL-2s to continue busting. You're also seeing a bit of... I don't believe actually that's a support howitzer, it's just direct fire support. But still, he's going to be very useful. He can get onto the hill, he can ward back some of those infantry in lighter armor.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough for right now. And that's the problem, isn't it? Is that we're just seeing a lot of very kind of good pieces of units here and there, but they're just not the finest deployed, unfortunately. Or they're just not in the greatest position to be deployed, let's put it that way.
Speaking of deployments, though, down south, you're actually seeing a push here from FaridRommel. He's got the armor leading the charge, and now Flix doesn't really have like anything here to stop this, and Farid is going to do a very good job, I think, of repivoting the momentum of the match down, especially if it's B26 coming in down south.
Yeah, the yak's going to cause a little bit of hassles, but real estate's being redeveloped here. Yeah, geez, that used to be green cover, and now it's no cover. Oh, the Wildcat didn't go after the yak. I suppose that makes a queer sort of sense. Having a Wildcat in after a yak. I imagine Wildcats would eat a yak or two, but yep, there we go. And the Zis gun is down, so yeah, this entire southern side is completely open. We have a couple of ailing infantry squads. Not going to be enough.
Not going to be enough at all, no. I'm seeing them just making their way forward, and yeah, IL2 doesn't have a whole lot to defend said town down south. The Strelchkis just don't match up against those lovely legionnaires.
By the way, the Katyusha is going to be aiming for the northern Bofors. So I think part of the thing they're going to have an issue with in terms of Flix's target description is you're not losing because of a single Bofors. You need to be targeting clusters of units and then follow it up.
Yeah, he hasn't just been trading efficiently either.
Yes.
Like, he's been taking some pretty heavy casualties from the Shermans and anti-tank guns up north. And without, getting that tank advantage, it's really too hard to get into the forest.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And right now we're going to see actually a T-34 to the southern side just trying to desperately stem the bleeding. He might even get a kill here. Or maybe he won't. But that is unfortunate. The M8 in the meantime, though. The Scott. Come on, great Scott. Get on in there, my friend.
Greyhound.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. Why do I think it's Scott? Oh, man.
Because there's also the M8 Scott, because the Americans only use the M designation for bloody everything, and then they keep reusing the same numbers for some reason. Like, we got the M1. The M1 carbine, rifle, grenade, flamethrower, tank.
Well, because I guess we're just not intelligent enough to be able to think of more than one letter. So, oh well. Sherman does go down. The Greyhound does go down. And right now all we have left is we have this howitzer who can theoretically aim at things. But we have a slightly decayed push here now.
Yeah, the Strelchki's coming in pretty clutch. Once again, it's just the Legionnaires can buy so much time because they are fanatical, and that time is valuable because it allows, for example, a fighter bomber to come on in and completely blap that T-34.
Well, the funny thing is, it's an SU-85 that's trying desperately to engage that howitzer, and yeah, he's getting the occasional kill here. But watch as the P-47 comes back in, and look, targets, yes, not just the armored fighting vehicle, but the infantry right around it as well. Like, doing more than one thing with a bombing run. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's meant to be seen.
And it's such a, choke point area down south. Yeah, it's just easy. It's a target shoot, really, for these aircraft. Blowing up the S-35 in one fell swoop. Very good kill. And we're seeing another push here from FaridRommel right down the center. I mean, it's going to get a little bit hit from the machine gun firepower, but still, this could prove to be quite deadly.
Absolutely.
Oh no, he's just going to unload. He's just going to go down the hill.
It's a better call on this one anyway. So he has the partisans that have been there since day one. And yes, he's probably going to lose at least one of these squads because it still is a Papa Shah infantry squad there. But looking outside of that, I think in the long term, it's not going to be enough.
Yeah.
It's not going to be enough. So. But yes. As we continue further forwards with this, I mean, it's all well and good that we're seeing a slight bit of life over here, but I feel like if there's another P-47 strike on the southern side, that'd be brutal. As it is, the Zis goes down courtesy of the P-26, and I think IL-2 should thank his lucky stars there's not more opportunity for P-47s making ground runs.
Yeah, it's just absolutely scary aircraft.
Weirdly enough, the T-34s, there's enough T-34s down to the south to reverse the momentum on this. I'm not entirely sure why he's not being a little more aggressive with them.
Yeah, I think he just doesn't have the reconnaissance in the forest to be sure to commit them without getting blown up by anti-tank, of course. We can see there's really not much anti-tank left. And this is the perfect time for Flix to invest in a little bit more infantry and try to push heavy down south, but he's also probably being tied up a little bit up north here with the Bimp push, and another Katusha strike onto the hill, trying to get the Bofors, but not really doing anything.
Yeah, and I think that unfortunately that's been an investment of 80 points, just hasn't really gone anywhere.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, rocket artillery can be very hit or miss in the counter battery role. I mean, we've seen sometimes with like neighbor Earthers and whatnot, completely blapping anti-aircraft guns in one hit. But then you get where they just end up doing nothing.
But the thing is, when you have those fights, that's when you're close enough to actually mitigate a lot of that target spread.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately I don't think we really are seeing a whole lot of here today. Now, there's T-34 is going to run afoul of a steward, going to kill the steward more than likely. And there's a partisan that just apparently doesn't care enough to save that tanker's life. I guess he figures that PBI owes the, tanks nothing. Ooh.
Yeah.
And there's a flying fortress down to the south. Well, a fortress of planes more than anything, a flying fortress per se.
Yeah, that's a pretty scary strike package right here. It's going to be leading up with the F5.
Well, lightning strikes the ground first.
Unlucky hit, or unlucky critical, I should say, for Faridja. The anti-aircraft net is getting pretty damn good here for Flix, but the B-26 still managed to get his bombs off.
Killed his own guy in the process, but still a 15-9. So...
Yeah. So Flix has been able to stabilize the central and southern positions a little bit, but still he's not in a good position to push. And now we're in the sea phase, and it's pretty difficult to push when you only have 80 points. Even if your opponent also only has 80 points, it's not ideal for offensive maneuvers.
Certainly not if you have not been able to maintain your equipment, and I mean that in terms of just keeping it alive.
Yeah.
We are seeing another Katyusha barrage. Aiming for infantry. There we go. That's what we should be aiming for. Now, where's the follow-up? Unfortunately, not much for that right now. Understandable.
Maybe some much more defensive barrage. Well, I'll say defensive. They're more offensive, but once again, no follow-up.
T-34 in the center is going to get picked up by the partisans any second. And shots up. Skadoosh. Yep. There we go. Strokey Squad's trying to go and get some revenge there, but those guys, they just fade back into the trees. That's exactly what we should be doing. So, there we go.
Yep.
And I think that's what we're going to start seeing here. We're seeing like these Legionnaires to the north of that. Going to move in to clean up this Carney Squad, which, God help them. I mean, they're plucky little guys. But they're about to get completely plucked as the Legionnaires just kind of swarm into them with Thompsons.
Yeah, I think it's honestly just been the Legionnaires have been absolute MVP in this match. Just like I said before, they buy so much time from being fanatical that it's allowed for Reed to just drop in the fire support to, pin down the Polish infantry and then blow them up easy peasy.
Yep.
And it also just been much better with the momentum. He's been really leading the charge on all flanks of the map now, and Flix has just been he's having to been playing a reacting game more so than anything.
I didn't realize that there's actually a 7 card of B-26 Marauders over here for C phase. That is insane.
Yeah, it is kind of insane. It's also kind of insane to take out a Maverick there, because that's going to be very difficult to even buy half of those.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a dead card, doesn't it? Or like a minimally useful card. Maybe part of me wonders if maybe that would have been a better idea to bring in B more than anything else, because you're right. Even if he had brought a different income kind of curve, it's 130 points. Yeah, you're not going to get a whole lot out of that unless you're playing like Juggernaut or something like that. Which
maybe he really likes to be a marauder.
I'm not going to lie to you. I never was really huge into making aircraft models, but one I did have was a B-26 Marauder. After trying to build that stupid thing, I can tell you I was not really a big fan of being into a Marauder. So, oh man, was I fiddly son of a bitch.
Some con law.
Exactly. Back on his little conling. Now, we are seeing still more IL-2 strikes kind of being brought on in, and these will probably pick up what they're aiming at, but just it won't be on. Never mind. Oops. Oops. Yep. There we go.
Yeah.
Very, very good reason to go and just tap out. The KD, not quite as desperate as I had anticipated it to be, though.
No, it's not too bad, really, all things considering. And looking at the kills...
Oh, the Prince of Bel-Air.
57 mil.
Oh, no, that guy, too. Yeah, Alexis, brutal. But I'm just going to say, the P-47, he was the Prince of Bel-Air. I mean, taking out 3 armored fighting vehicles and the anti-air is fantastic.
Yeah, like I said, once you go into a hill, you slap the anti-tank gun on there. It is just absolutely a deadly position to hold on to.
Yep, absolutely.
And losses, nothing really too crazy. Yeah, I just feel like Flix was just not in a... He was, like I said, it's very much in a reactionary position for the entirety of that match, unfortunately, for him.
Yeah, and sometimes that happens. I mean, sometimes you're not able to kind of really find your footing, and I think that definitely happened today for Flix. So
yeah,
booties shall be busted another time. It feels like.
Yeah, there's always another time for booty busting.
Absolutely. Anything else, sir?
No.
Well, in that case, folks, we're going to kind of cut our casting here. This was the first matchup because we're recovering from Season 8. Of course, another one coming on Thursday. Until that day, though, I'm Conalwork.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.